Well, 2013 has definitely been a busy year for pretty much everyone in the Greeley area in northern Colorado, given the weather and some of the different events that have happened. And here today to talk to us a little bit more about being prepared for some of those emergencies that might come upon us is Pete Morgan, who's the new emergency manager with the City of Greeley. Pete, great having you here today.
Thanks, glad to be here.
Okay, so I want to go back just a couple of months here, back to September when we had the floods here in Greeley. Actually, maybe not so much in Greeley, but the surrounding areas. And I know there are some lessons learned. You have a little bit of a list of things that you guys discovered during and after the flooding events.
Yeah, what we found in speaking with some of the people that were affected by the flood is there's just a few items that people really need to remember if they're evacuated or affected in case of an emergency. The first one is to have your legal documents collected and ready to go. That was a big issue for people that were affected. We've got a list here of some things that people might need to have. Their wills, titles to homes and vehicles, driver's license, passports, social security numbers, birth certificates, bank account information. There's a more complete list on our website, the City of Greeley website, and also readycolorado.com. But that was a real challenge for people to overcome, is trying to get a hold of those documents with their homes being still underwater and not being able to access those. One of the other things that we found was prescription medications. And the City of Greeley opened a shelter at the rec center during the flood, and we had numerous issues of people not having their medications with them, and that became a real challenge in trying to make sure that we could get them the medication they needed. So it's important to have that ready to go,
Okay.
And maybe a list of what medications you're on as well.
Okay. All right. Anything else that was a little bit of a lessons learned for folks? And I know a couple of these myself. I don't know that I would have thought of those and be like, oh yeah. So I'll have to make sure I've got those on my list. Anything else that we want to make sure that we mention for folks?
Yeah, one other thing is the emergency notification opt-in. That's, again, you can go to the City of Greeley website. There's a link, and that basically registers your phone number or any phone numbers in your family to be notified in the event of an emergency. We're finding more and more people don't have home phones, and so it's hard to do reverse 911s or notifications. But if your cell phone number is registered, then the dispatch center can notify you in the event of an emergency or an evacuation. Even if you do have a home phone, it's still important because you may not be at home when the evacuation occurs,
Right.
and you can be notified on your cell phone and have a plan for how you're going to attack that. Also, if you have teenagers, that have cell phones,
right.
register their numbers.
Yeah.
And, just have a communication plan with everybody in your family.
Yeah, I forgot about the teenagers. That's a good idea. And one thing I want to mention too, since we're kind of going through things people want to keep in mind, if you change your cell phone or you change your phone number, make sure you go back in and you get those phone numbers registered as well. So those are kind of some of those lessons learned. And now moving forward into our winter months, we have a whole nother list of things that we need to consider because weather conditions in Colorado, as we know, can change at a moment's notice. And we have some examples of things here as a reminder for folks that they might want to make sure that they have either at their home, but especially as they're traveling for the holidays. And let's run through some of those.
Yeah, so if you're traveling for the holidays, especially long distances, it's important to have a plan. So check the weather before you leave. It may not be bad, as you said,
Right.
when you leave,
Starts
but
out good.
yeah, but on the way things could get bad. So just have an idea of what the weather plan is, or the weather forecast is. Also, it's important to have just some emergency supplies, in case there's roads closed or bad traffic or something like that. We've got a few items: water, some non-perishable foods, a spare radio, batteries, flashlight, also some other items you might have, or warm blankets or other warm clothes, just in the event that you are stranded for a while.
Yeah, and I know our family, well, you probably don't know, but we have a lot of family back in Kansas, and so we do the infamous I-70, and it has a habit of closing often. And over the years when I was doing these in previous segments, we just kind of keep adding to our kits. And I know sometimes people have fears about that. Well, it's a lot of money to add all of these things, but if they do a little bit at a time, they can build their kit up.
That's correct. The recommendation is you can do it incrementally. So just each time you go to the store, maybe add one item to your emergency kit. If you go to readycolorado.com, that website has multiple lists for different kits, a home kit, a vehicle kit, business kit. There's all different types of options there, and they have real good guidance as to what's best to have.
Okay, anything else you want to make sure that we touch on today with folks and make sure they're ready for the winter weather?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us this time. And Pete, thanks so much for being here today. I know that you kind of hit the ground running, being the new guy in all of this. So great job. And thanks for being on the show with us today.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Okay. So make sure you get that kit ready. Visit the website, readycolorado.com, and be ready for winter.